I am present.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Mr. President, I am present as well.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're just waiting for 64 to give us the nod.
Okay, CP. Committee members and participants, we are now live.
Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everyone. We are reconvening the FY24 budget committee of the whole hearings. This morning, we had the committee of the whole for school district, but we also combined the required biannual school city meeting success. So this afternoon, we will hear from the Community College of Philadelphia, and I see the good doctor is connected. So if you're ready to go, Dr. Generals, please proceed with your testimony.
Sure. Thank you, President Clark and members of the council. Thank you for having us. We look forward to this opportunity to engage with you on some of the progress that the college has made in the context of our budget request. I'm speaking with you today during a very exciting time at the college academic year, as this coming Saturday, we will graduate May 6th at the LaCour Center. So it's always an exciting time of the year. Even more. What? Oh. Sorry, I have my co-pilot here. Even more special is the fact that that Mayor Kenny will serve as our keynote speaker, while Saturday's commencement will provide the very joyous opportunity to recognize our graduates. It is also a celebration for the city. As a result of our partnership, in addition to Mayor Kenny's steadfast support of our institution over the years, thousands of students will be able to take the next step on their educational and career journey. I look forward to sharing more of the college's successes with you so you can see the very tangible ways this funding that you have provided over the years affects the students we serve. Together, we can continue to keep our positive momentum going and make higher education a reality for the Philadelphians who are eager to give back to our communities. So I will begin with basic narratives. Is that it? Yeah. I'm bringing up our slides. This is Shannon.
Hi, nice to see everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good, I've done that.
Is it possible to share Dr. General's screen with the council? It doesn't look like it's enabled on Teams right now.
Bob, can we share screen?
Presenter access.
He now have presenter access.
There you go.
Okay, are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll share some comments, and at the end of our presentation, our brief presentation, we certainly will open. We're open to any questions you might have. So, first screen, fast facts. We are about 8. We serve approximately 19,000 students. Excuse me. We are set to graduate at least 1,530 students this weekend. That number continues to rise as we move towards the weekend. Students are completing their finals, so we hope to have a much higher number. What sets us apart is the fact that approximately 85% of recent graduates live and work in the greater Philadelphia area. So we really are training the city's workforce. We are a minority serving institution reflective of the communities we serve, and the diversity of our students, faculty, and staff is one of our greatest strengths. You can see other demographic data represented in this presentation here on this slide. And of course, our slides have been presented to you, so anybody that would like to take a closer look can certainly do that. Here you have a graphic of councilmatic district numbers. You can see your various numbers. Up in District 10, there's over 2,000 students, and the numbers vary across the city of Philadelphia. Our students come to us from all over the city, and we're able to serve them among our various campuses, including the main campus in Center City, the Northeast Regional Center, and the West Regional Center, right next to our Career and Advanced Technology Center on Chestnut Street. We have about 196 international students as well. Our budget request for 23-24 fiscal year is $51 million, including $11.7 million for the previous Cato Scholarship and $150,000 for dual enrollment. In addition, the college requests $15 million in one-time funding for capital supports and programs. These funds will help support important projects to provide meaningful academic opportunities and world-class facilities for our students, as outlined in our strategic plan, which is world-class facilities. Number 6 pillar is world-class facilities. Some of these projects include the renovation of the Great Hall for academic and student program, the creation of a simulation and skills lab for our award-winning nursing program, upgrades to our dental clinic, and improved lighting to enhance safety and security on campus, among other things. I'd like to touch on how the college is supporting the city and why this funding is so crucial. The latest economic impact report conducted regarding the college's contribution to the region by EMSI demonstrates the college generates approximately $631.3 million in added income to Philadelphia County in fiscal year 2019-2020, and supported more than 7,500 jobs during that time. Additionally, for every dollar invested in a CCP education, Pennsylvania will see an average of $9.40 in added income and social savings, while students gain $5.90 in lifetime earnings. These figures hopefully illustrate how valuable the college is to the city. As of April 24th, 2023, approximately 1,530 students are set to graduate as part of the class of 2023. Of these students, 107 will earn their high school diploma alongside their college degrees. In fact, most of them will receive their college degree prior to their high school diploma, which doesn't come about until June. Dual enrollment programs allow high school students from schools like Parkway Central City Middle College and Mass Community Charter School to take college courses while enrolled in high school. Other programs that prepare learners for the college life include the Junior STEM Academy, Gateway to College, and Advanced College Experience. As previously mentioned, part of the budget funds will go to support dual enrollment, which will be particularly timely due to the new Pennsylvania mandate for high school graduation, which is Act 158. Since the rollout of Act 158, we've experienced a 50% increase in the number of new applicants for dual enrollment since this time last year. We look forward to serving even more high school students looking for pre-college training in the years to come. The Octavius Cato Scholarship is certainly a highlight of the developments over the last couple of years. The Octavius Cato Scholarship is the result of the partnership between the college and the city, and a significant portion of this year's budget request, about 11.7, would be devoted to this initiative. Since the introduction of the Octavius Cato Scholarship in spring of 2021, the college has welcomed 1,100 Cato Scholars, with the first full cohort graduating this weekend. In addition, last year, eligibility was expanded to include select transfer students, re-engaged CCP students, and students who graduated from high school outside of Philadelphia. Not only do these students have the opportunity to graduate debt-free, but they also have access to wraparound services, including Cato support coaches who check in with students individually to make sure they have what they need to succeed. This year, on Cato's birthday, students shared writings they put together about what the scholarship means to them, which were inspiring to hear. We can't wait to see all that this first cohort of Cato Scholars will do in the future. In terms of additional supports at CCP, we're also proud of the additional supports we're able to provide students outside of the classroom. For example, our Single Stop program connects students to resources like tax filings, legal aid, and financial counseling. And we've been able to serve more than 19,000 students and families since 2013. Part of the request for this year's budget includes funds to renovate our Single Stop office, so we're able to provide even better services to our students. Other supports include our shared housing program partnership with the Philadelphia Housing Authority, which provides housing for housing insecure students just blocks from the campus. This program focuses on students who've been involved in foster care. I'd also like to recognize our food collaborative, including Grady's Garden, which has provided more than 8,000 meals to students over the years. CME, I, and More, another support that helps students both inside and outside the classroom, is our Center for Male Engagement. This initiative makes support coaches available to male students of color to help them adjust to the college environment. We are also proud to support students navigating life after being involved in the criminal justice system. Last year, one of our I Am More coaches, Luis Suave Gonzalez, won the Pulitzer Prize for his involvement in a podcast about his more than 30 years in prison. We know how important it is to uplift traditionally underserved communities. We are committed to it, and we are looking forward to continuing this effort. The Saxby's Cafe in 2022, Community College of Philadelphia opened an entirely student-run cafe, the Saxby's Cafe on campus. Thanks to the Saxby's Experiential Learning platform, this cafe is headed by a student CEO who earns full academic credit in addition to a stipend while working and training other student employees. To train students interested in STEM, we all know that STEM, life sciences, gene and cell sciences, I should say, are becoming prevalent in the city of Philadelphia. To train students interested in STEM and better meet the workforce needs of the city, the college has increased its academic offerings related to STEM and updated STEM-related facilities. Collaborations with companies such as Iovance, Wuxi, and Integral Molecular provide training for cutting-edge jobs in the cell and gene therapy sector, including in the areas of quality control, animal research, manufacturing, and more. In addition, a non-credit aseptic technique training course provides a hands-on immersive laboratory experience in GMP setting. Furthermore, science labs have been updated with the following technology to provide students quality academic experiences: various microscopes, thermocyclers, gas chromatographers, and fermenters, and more, all of which are spelled out on this particular slide. A number of upgrades have occurred, including the renovation of our athletic center. We have a brand new athletic center, newly renovated athletic center, which includes LED lighting, new paint, new bleachers, new wood floors, and an LED scoring screen. The Library and Learning Commons. The Library and Learning Commons, our main campus, provides study spaces and rooms for students. In addition to collaborative areas for classes and groups to meet, it is also equipped with state-of-the-art video equipment and computers for academic work, and students can access tutoring services there. It remains a main hub on the campus for students to gather and study, and it is right next to the Saxby's Cafe. So students have the opportunity to study, while at the same time they can go to the cafe to relax and enjoy a cup of coffee or a cup of cafe. As you all know, we opened 70,000 square foot brand new Advanced and Technology Center out in West Philly, in the corner of 48th and Market Street. The Career in Advanced Technology provides a host of technical training programs, including welding, auto technology, advanced manufacturing, electrical mechanics, computer numerical controls, as well as a suite of health science, allied health science programs, including dental technician, sterilization, and certified nurse assistant. So the programs began this past fall. We're now into our second semester, and we're extremely positive and extremely optimistic about the future of this brand new state-of-the-art facility. We continue to provide business development opportunities, both in Power Up Your Business, which was supported by City Council in the city of Philadelphia, as well as 10,000 small businesses. So we have two. One is more regional. The other is certainly committed to the corridors here in Philadelphia, both of which are very popular with numerous alumni in both cases. And these are the workforce development programs. We all know that workforce development in the form of short-term and immediate training and education that provides an opportunity for students to go out into the workforce is something that community colleges are doing. And Community College of Philadelphia is in the forefront providing these types of training programs. We believe that it is a major part of the future of what we do. And these are some examples of some of the workforce development programs that we have. and you can read through in the healthcare and wellness. I mentioned dental assistant, massage therapy, dialysis technician, pharmacy tech, nurse assistant. These students provide in receipt of short-term training, and they're able to go immediately out into the workforce. In our manufacturing and logistics infrastructure, we have computer numerical controls, electrical, mechanical, and industrial maintenance, gas pipeline mechanics, safety inspection mechanics training certification, and emissions inspector certification. Again, students were able to receive this training and go out into the field of work. Over in the technology, we have A+ certification, CompTIA security, coding certification, and cybersecurity. And what's not here is our hacking, both our moral aspects of hacking as well as the amoral, if you will, aspects of hacking. And then we provide a number of business development opportunities for students, including diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Institute, a logistics and supply chain management basics program, and nonprofit management. So we have a suite of workforce development programs, all of which have the possibility to be stackable, meaning that the student can begin those programs in a non-credit short-term certificate format, and then should they decide they want to continue their education towards a degree, they can stack those credentials into credit opportunities and move towards a degree. So I believe that's the end of my presentation, the formal presentation, and I'm certainly open to any questions that anyone might have. Stop sharing. Stop sharing.
Thank you, Dr. General, and thank you for your work and your steady hand. Ever since you came on, I mean, you could just see an upward swing in the student population, and you make us feel comfortable that you are at the helm. We know, despite of some of the challenges that we've dealt with over the last couple of years with the pandemic and other things, that CCP is going to be in good hands and going to continue to move beyond an upward trend. You wanted to ask you a question about.
Sorry, but I'd like to recognize, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize our board chair, Mr. Epps. Certainly our board slides points out our board, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge their support to navigate the difficult times of a couple of years ago with the pandemic, and now with some of the lagging effects. Are certainly very supportive and knowledgeable relative to how the college needs to get to where it's ultimately going to go. So,
thank you. And so I thought we spoke earlier. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon.
A couple of questions. The scholarship has been an extremely successful partnership between the city and the college. I want to give the mayor, kudos for the Cato statue, and then also the scholarship was something that will definitely be a part of his legacy in public life. One of the challenges that we face, though, is obviously being in a position to pay for the education, but a debt-free education is so important. But this whole issue around housing insecurity continues to be a problem. And we're finding that increasingly it's actually a problem for a lot of young people in high school and junior school. And some of the challenges where we've made some of these young people that actually find themselves going down the wrong path are actually homeless, which is pretty amazing. That in a country like ours, we can find ourselves in that position. I see that you reference the housing authority and the partnership. Can you be a little more detailed? Is it a voucher or is it a unit? How exactly are they supportive of the housing insecurity among your students?
So right now we have 2 units, a couple of blocks from the college, and those 2 units are housing 16 students. PHA renovated the units for that purpose. The students, the rent is very minimal. I think Dave Thomas is on here. I believe it's a little bit over $100 a month. Is it $150? I believe is the max that they have to pay. So it's a shared housing. We've had 16 students. I think we've only lost 1. A couple of them are graduating this year. So it's a model. We viewed it as a pilot with the hope that we can extend it One of the modifications to it is that Kelvin Jeremiah is working with the city on a new MOU to provide some of the support services, because many of these students that are in these housing have come out of foster care. They've come out of backgrounds that require support beyond just the housing. So we found that to be a bit challenging for the college, and we've been able to work out an agreement with Kelvin Jeremiah to provide that level of support. But we see it as a pilot, and we hope to be able to expand it. It is a model. He's received attention and credit for it, as have we. And 16 doesn't come anywhere near the demand. We have referral services here that whereby we're allowed, we're able to refer students. Dave, can you rattle off some of the places we send them? I know that this falls under Dave's area.
Yes, sir, certainly. Good afternoon, Council President Clark, Majority Leader Jones. Happy to see you both today. So the partnership we have with PHA has been extremely successful, in my opinion, in that we have been able to support 16 young people who have been deemed housing insecure in these 2 units. The process typically is this: students apply to us. They actually complete an interest form. We do a basic assessment and then put them through the Office of Homeless Services assessment process, right? The purpose for that is we need these individuals to be in the city system. In case anything else happens to them, they don't become housing insecure again. They have the safety net that is provided by the Office of Homeless Services system. At that point, then they move to PHA's system, and they are actually PHA's residents. They meet PHA requirements, and they are then allowed to access the unit on a sliding scale. So no student is paying more than $150 a month for the unit. Most of the students are not paying anything based off of the fact that they have no income coming in. So this is the partnership that we have with PHA. We've been doing it for a little over 2 years now, actually a little over 3 years now. We're looking to expand the operation in partnership with other entities. We've been in conversations with Covenant House, and we've been in conversations with People's Emergency Center as well to figure out how we can find additional units and partner with other entities across the city that have an expertise in providing the wraparound supports and services for people who are experiencing housing insecurity.
All right. So I think I heard you reference, Doc, that the 16 units are not nearly enough. Is it only 16 because of the resources on the CCP's end or the housing authorities end, or both? Because I would think that.
I think the initial idea was, let's try it. To be honest, it's a pilot. There's a lot vested in terms of PHA's resources. They were the ones who renovated it, but the students, the educational support, and some of the social support we're providing, where we found we needed more support was in some of the emotional, psychosocial support that some of these students were carrying with them into this. They can't, many of them have lived traumatized lives, and, we found that we needed more support in order to support them through those types of situations. So the good news is that if they did not have the housing, we're convinced they would not have stayed in school. The good news is that they have stayed in school. So we're now talking about, okay, how can we expand this? I don't know what PHA's budget is, just anecdotally. I know they've got quite a bit and they can do more. I know there's houses throughout the neighborhood. These houses, one is on 10th and one is on 11th. They're like 3 blocks away from the school, so it works perfectly for these students. Great neighborhoods, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to. And let me backtrack for a minute. One of the reasons that this came about is just sort of a casual conversation or recognition that many of our students were already PHA's clients. That was pretty obvious, and so it only made sense. I know that they wanted to provide support, educational support. Calvin has always said it's more than housing, and we needed to have the housing to be able to support them academically. So it was a natural partnership, and I think we're at the point now where we really need to push to try to expand this further.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I'll talk to Mr. Jeremiah. Pretty much talk to him every day. See if we can expand the program to address the obvious need. Thank you. Speaking of housing, let me ask you a question about the housing. I think Hamilton Street we did years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think that the units were supposed to be targeted for, was it for
International students.
how does that work? And is it, some people think it's just a straight out market rate development. Do we have
it was working beautifully until the pandemic.
Okay.
The pandemic hit, and most of those students, most of them were from Southeast Asia and China, could not get back into the country. So we went from 45 to 0 overnight. I think we've got about 10 now. We're trying to rebuild that. Our international population is slowly growing back. We're about 190 international students. We do think that's a viable source for not just cultural reasons, but of course revenue. International students pay 3 times the rate, and Philadelphia is a huge attraction for international college students that are interested in coming to study internationally. So we absolutely see that as a market that we want to try to be a part of.
Okay.
But it was working beautifully till the pandemic. And
Yeah.
literally overnight, it just.
Yeah, so were some of us, but it took its toll on pretty much everything and everybody. But we're all trying to recover.
Right.
So in your presentation, you talk about a one-time funding request for $15 million for capital programs. Can you give me a little more detail about that request and what it's for?
Sure. So it's a combination of deferred maintenance issues. We have old buildings. We're constantly, fixing busted pipes. We're constantly fixing ceilings that are leaking. But at the same time, we try to balance that with the need to renovate old equipment, old systems. Right now, we're renovating our physics lab. We think it's an essential part of the education of our students to have state-of-the-art equipment, because that's what's going to get them the job. That's what's going to get them the transfer to the high-tech institutions that hopefully they will go to. So it's a combination of the two. We've laid out a capital growth plan over 3 to 5 years, and we think this would be a part of it. Again, part of it is deferred maintenance. Part of it is technology increases and upgrades. Technology upgrades, as you know, Moore's Law, every 6 months. What you have in front of you becomes obsolete very quick. So those are some of the capital expenses that we are constantly trying to get ahead of. So with the way the city's budget is structured, we benefit by having capital dollars set aside from our operations and separating the two, so that we don't have to go in and formulate our budget in a way where more dollars are committed to the essential needs of capital, the capital needs.
All right.
So
And President Clark,
we do have a list, a 3-year plan for capital projects that we certainly could send. As you know, Rob Bowe is on our board, so we work very closely with him on some of those projects as well.
Right.
yeah, I was going
Mr.
to clarify. Yeah, I was going to clarify, but President General covered it, and that is the request is only a portion of the real deferred maintenance that exists on the campus.
Right.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for only asking for a portion. Any state
President Clark, let me just say to you that since I know where you offices are, and you know MSB, you know 1515 Arch, these buildings are in similar shape.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
No, I'm very familiar with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They're all of the same ilk.
Yeah.
Before the Career Tech Center out in West Philly, the newest building was 2020, so that's 23 years old. So the building looks okay, but we have issues with HVAC systems. We have issues with air handlers, air controllers. The amount of maintenance that goes into maintaining these 20 to 100-year-old buildings. This building I'm standing in is over 100 years old.
Right.
Is pretty extensive. So we don't want.
Let me also.
We try to keep educational dollars from having to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, didn't one of the buildings used to be the Mint?
Yep,
The
that's the 100-year-old building.
Yeah, used to be the Mint. All right.
Let me also
Not
say,
that I was around.
we all have young people, and unfortunately, they have choices, and the physical conditions help, drive their choice. A lot of our students don't really have the same amount of choice, but we need to give them something that's reasonable. And in some cases, what we have at the college needs some investment to be reasonable.
Right. Okay. Yeah. If you could just provide that list. One last question, since we're talking about facilities, and my annual question about the North Philadelphia branch of CCP, and that we talk about pretty much every year. I won't be in a position to cut that ribbon as an elected, but I'm going to ask in the last budget process, the conversations, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know at one point we were talking about starting with some courses just to get a foot in the door in one of the public schools. And I know we've changed leadership over at the school district, but the need is still there. Every time I ride by that state-of-the-art building in West Philly, I said, man, would one of these look good over here in North Philly? Where did that conversation go? I know we talked about GED and some other preparatory type of courses, and I think we were looking at Dobbins at the time. Did it kind of go away?
No, it has not. We're very closely aligned with the school district's vision and strategies for expanding in the career and technical education areas. I, along with Dr. Thomas, who was just on with the school district officials, Dr. Watlington, and a couple of his executives have been on a tour. Dobbins was one of the stops we made. Strawberry Mansion was one of the stops we made. Svensson was one of the stops we made. And what was the other one? South Philly. With the idea of finding where we can align in the context of dual enrollment programs, opportunities for students to either continue or to take college level courses in these fields that will put them on a pathway towards career and technical education. So to answer your questions, it's a little bit more than just a conversation stage of things. Dobbins has a lot of space that we could conceivably utilize. The question is, what would we do? What kinds of programs would we put in there that would make sense? Yes, we started with the idea, of putting an anchor down with some basic skill types of things, but we could very easily pivot that to job readiness opportunities for students in some of the career and technical education fields. So that's kind of where the thinking is right now.
Yeah. I mean, in the schools you reference, I mean, we, I know we had to tour Dobbins a couple of times, and the space is still there. Some of it was raw space. It would require a significant capital investment, but we also had, as you know, Strawberry Mansion. It has around 300 students at the school that was built for 1,200 students. And fortunately, I want to thank the building trades for coming in and running a program, apprenticeship program out of there. And next door to that, we have LP Hill that is basically vacant, a similar school in terms of the configuration. Again, it's 1,000+ student school that's empty. So I think the space needs can be addressed with minimal investment, particularly in those latter schools that I referenced. But I'm glad to hear that you're talking to Dr. Watlington. We're actually going to be up at Hill School this week to look at the potential use or repurposing of that school. So I'm glad to hear. I'll obviously bring that up when I have a conversation with them. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jones and Chairman Epps. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Gautier.
Good afternoon, Dr. Generals.
Good afternoon.
First, thank you to you and your entire team, as well as the board, for all of the good work you do on behalf of Philadelphia every single day. I have a few questions about CCP and how it is engaging with the growth of the life sciences industry. Earlier this year, I took a tour of the new CCP facility in West Philadelphia. I am very excited about this state-of-the-art educational facility in the 3rd District, which will help prepare students for a range of transportation, tech, and healthcare jobs. And as I've seen the explosion of real estate in West and Southwest Philadelphia dedicated to life sciences companies, I want to make sure that we are equally as invested in preparing our workforce for the life sciences jobs sure to come to Philadelphia. Can you talk about the investment that CCP is making in life sciences education, both in terms of curriculum as well as physical lab space?
So, to be clear, most of our life sciences labs that exist, as well as the current plans for future life sciences labs, are on the main campus. We believe that, I understand, resources kind of dictate what you do. But for the most part, all of our health sciences, all of whom have to take life sciences courses, they're here at the main campus. So the investments that have been made have been just in lab facilities and lab equipment is probably approaching $12 to $15 million just in the last 2 or 3 years. The latest project is a physics lab that's going on right now, but we have brand new biochemistry labs. We have brand new A&P labs. I'd love to give you a tour of these facilities. We are working on dedicated courses that will enable students to not have to take an entire degree. They will only have to take certain courses in order to be eligible for job opportunities and internships with, for example, Iovance, WuXi. As you know, we've had a long-standing relationship with the Wistar Institute. That's a part of our life sciences portfolio, if you will. So it's an area that we're very much attuned to, and we continue to put resources, both capital resources as well as dedicating human resources as well. You need to have the teachers, you need to have the biology, chemistry, physics teachers in order to be able to teach that. So I think we're in this space in a big way. Again, approaching $15 million, $12 to $15 million over the last 3 years.
Okay, can you sort of expound on how, what does that $15 million get in terms of the breadth and depth of curriculum in this area? And do you think there's any value in, I know that you're currently, the physical spaces on the main campus, but do you think there's any value in being more proximate to where the industry is growing in West, Southwest, and South Philadelphia?
Certainly, proximity is key. We just, I'm being honest, we just don't have any immediate plans in West Philly. The degree programs and the certificate programs obviously are biology and chemistry, applied engineering, technology. Some of the cell and gene therapy programs are laboratory technician, project coordinators. Animal research, we're looking to develop curriculum in that particular area. We've been approached by the field to develop a program in that area. Quality control is another area. Some of the equipment includes, obviously state-of-the-art microscopes, fermenters. We have some of the, part of the focus, especially as it relates to job placement, is the equipment. The hoods that students have to use, the microscopes that they have to use, the fermenters that they have to use, or all have to be state-of-the-art equipment. The issue that we have learned through conversations with industry folks is that quite often somebody with a degree in the theories of these fields are very inexperienced with the equipment. So if you're working on, a $500,000 piece of equipment, they like to know that you know what you're doing. So we've invested second to none, and you can quote me on that, second to none in the city of Philadelphia in equipment, science and lab equipment for this particular field. However, it is on the main campus at this point. We have had very preliminary conversations about some of the available space that abuts the West Philly campus. As you know, we just purchased $6 million parking lot. We needed a parking lot. There's conversations about building on top of that, a possible partnership, public-private partnership there. So again, very preliminary conversations. We're always in conversations with Hilco, but there are no definite plans about that particular area at this point.
Thank you. And I just have a few other questions that I want to get out and then allow you the time to answer. We know that many others are also tackling this issue in our region. Other community colleges and neighboring regions have, fully developed life sciences curriculums as well, and they have been successful in preparing students for these careers. Can you talk about any partnerships that you formed with neighboring institutions to share resources so that we can offer the best education for Philadelphia students in this area? And then finally, can you talk about the employer relationships that you are developing to connect graduates with job opportunities in the area of the life sciences?
Sure. So again, I would start with Ivance Pharmaceuticals, I believe they are. Wuxi. I actually personally visited them at the Navy Yard. We're in conversations with Sparks Therapeutics. I mentioned the Wistar Institute. It's a huge training opportunity for our students. We are part of the Delaware Valley Community College Consortium, which includes Monco, Delaware County Community College, Drexel, Camden, and Bucks County Community Colleges. And we provide training opportunities for, a range from the more technical, mundane, up through and including some of the life sciences areas that you're referring to. So I think this is an area that's an area of growth. I think it's still a little bit, from the community college vantage point, it's still a little unsettling about where our space will be. We're being told that these opportunities are there, but we're still very much in competition with the Drexels and the Penns and the Temples and so forth. So we're trying to forge into this space. Congresswoman Scanlon has visited our campus a couple of times because, as you know, she's a huge proponent of these opportunities. And so we think that with time, we will certainly be a huge provider of a workforce for these fields. And I think we're laying the foundation to do that with the lab equipment and the lab investments that we've made so far.
Great. And, I may be biased, but I think CCP corners the market on its ability to prepare, entry-level workers from Philadelphia's neighborhoods, or workers that are already in the field and need to upskill in a way that is very different than a Drexel or another institution. And I'm very interested in working with you and working with the other agencies of the city, Commerce or PhilaWorks, to make sure that we can really push this forward to benefit the people of Philadelphia. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. President General, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you again. And Chairman Epps, I had a series of questions. But once you popped on the screen, I kind of got some of the answer. And here, you'll appreciate why I got some of the answers. It seems that you, as a education institution, have kind of shifted towards reverse engineering of education that is useful to employers at the end of the day, producing a workforce that is hireable and employable. And I sense that in the things that you do by way of what Member Gutierrez just said, but I just feel that kind of reverse engineering from a commerce perspective that you've kind of moved in that direction. Is that true?
That is absolutely true. I think we've demonstrated that through our investments, both in our labs and equipment. The West Philly project was $35 million, and we continue to look at ways in which we can expand our footprint in this area. I think that makes us much more comprehensive. It's not at the exclusion of the more traditional liberal arts transfer, but it's an extension of an expansion of the kinds of work we should do. Philadelphia is a big city, so there's plenty that we need to do in order to meet the demand for the economy and the workforce here, and that's what we're trying to do.
So, Councilmember
Have you
Jones,
been able? Yes, go ahead.
can I just, sure. You used the word commerce. I would double down on what President General said. That's what the marketplace needs. And as well as we're doing, quite frankly, the collective system was still not producing what the market needs. So yes, we need to do everything we're doing, and we need to do more because the marketplace needs it. And it's increasingly showing, and it's increasingly affirming that most of the jobs that Councilmember Gautier talked about and others, many of them do not require a 4-year degree. It requires skills, licenses, and certificates that community college has further prepared its strategy around, but we even need to do more.
You guys, kudos to you, your leadership, your board, your team, because you sense that and have adjusted a large ship to accommodate that demand. I will tell you, once I was up at Pepsi bottling plant, up in remember Lozada's district, and I was it was a part of a understanding of where their industry was revolving around the soda tax. And long story short, the manager pointed out a technician that was measuring the pH water balance for the use in some of their beverage products. And they were testing it every so many tons and gallons to go through the machine. And he told me that gentleman a year before was moving product on a crane or on a forklift. And they recruited him, sent him to specific classes to be qualified to do that level of work that was pertinent in their factory. That is becoming more and more the case. And I just think community is strategically in a position to take advantage of that. General, am I close?
Absolutely. We refer to that as contract training. A business comes to us and says, they have a particular need, a particular workforce need or skill need for their workers. And we can either train their incumbent workers, people that are working there, or we can train, people that are not working there, that, a population of people that they might need. So I think we have customizable abilities to provide training and educational opportunities in a whole range of areas. And again, the career tech, whether it's in the form of lab technician, if you're an aseptic lab technician, there's a whole range of fields that you can go in that are, discipline specific, relative to what you just said. So whether it's that or whether it's electrical mechanics, whereby you could be working for a production or a processing unit. And as you know, most of production and processing units have various forms of robotics and automation. So the people that run those machines are usually people that have training in a particular area in that field. So some of the foundational subject areas that we're teaching in that West Philly campus will enable students to go into a range of areas. They have the foundations, they understand the basic structures of these equipments, and they're able to then specialize in the particular, with the particular company that they may be. So yes.
So in the fourth district, the old Bud plant is being converted into Bud Biotech. And I don't know if you've been able to connect with those individuals, but Chairman Epps was probably around when they started the design of it, but they put $500 million with a B into that facility to attract small biotech companies, independent companies that wanted a shared workplace. And they are looking for people to train that they don't need a college degree. They want to specifically train them to the needs of their individual companies. And I just think that's an excellent opportunity for Philadelphians that want to stay here, work here, educate here, and hopefully buy homes here. And so I just think that your institution is nimble enough to be able to go right after that kind of market.
So, council member, we were talking about, President Clark was talking about the connection to the school district. That is why that is so important, because today and tomorrow, the city has more jobs than we have today skilled people to do those jobs. And community college must be at the center of those partnerships that will fuel the pipeline to deliver to your districts the kind of skill resources that are needed today and tomorrow to fill those jobs. We do not have a job problem. We have a skills problem. And community college.
Well, I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate what you've done with the institution. I remember President General's first year and him coming to my office and explaining his vision. And I thought at the time it was overly optimistic. But lo and behold, I see the actualization of that vision. And I think it is the first rung for many people. Many people that work for the city started out at community and went on to, while they worked, to improve their professional stature. And we are grateful to the institution, because I would just hope that you venture beyond the 5th district with President Clark and the 3rd district with Jamie Gutierrez, and come to the 4th district. We've got plenty of space for you.
Well, right. May I put in a plug? Councilmember Jones, you talked about the need for continuous learning. So we have seen the success of the Cato Scholarship Program, and through President General's leadership, we're beginning to have the conversation about how do we gain the resources to make tuition free for the part-timers. So we're not there yet, but I can guarantee you we'll be back, because we need to now go. We need to remove the barrier of cost for those that need to work while they go to school.
So true. Thank you, Mr. President.
Good, Councilman. Okay, thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Thomas.
Good afternoon, Council President. Good afternoon, Dr. Generals. Thank you and your entire team for being here. Thank you for all the great work that you do. I'm actually going to be pretty quick, because I don't want to be repetitive, and a lot of my questions were actually already answered. The one thing I didn't hear us talk about in depth is dual enrollment. I'm wondering where we are with dual enrollment. How many partnerships do we have across the city of Philadelphia, and what does the progress looks like as it relates to giving our young people an edge when they want to go to some level of higher academia and already having those credits and that collegiate experience because of the collaborative efforts that they have with CCP?
I'm going to ask Dave to chime in here, but I can tell you citywide, we're doing quite well. The number of dual enrollment students has increased. The number of partnership schools has increased, both public as well as more independent/private. And our budget request that the mayor has fulfilled or is proposing includes $150,000 to increase the number of dual enrollment programs. Dave, you want to give some specificity?
Certainly. Councilman Thomas, good to hear you. I don't see you, but good to hear you, sir.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm having a little issues with my camera. It was messing up earlier as well too.
Not a problem. I understand. I'm happy to talk about just the efforts that we've made to advance dual enrollment in the city of Philadelphia for Philly students. Quick backdrop, in 2010, 2011, dual enrollment was a state budget line item. It was removed based off of the governor's administration at that particular time. And since then, we've seen our numbers over the last 10, 12, 13 years increase based off of, I think, our ability to be a bit more nimble and to expand our program offerings to students that traditionally didn't even take advantage of dual enrollment. In the past, when those dollars were at the state level, there were different requirements that students could access dual enrollment. And those requirements were typically the students who would take advantage of dual enrollment opportunities in the first place. So when those dollars went away, some of those requirements also went away, and we opened up the floodgates and began to do more outreach to some of our opportunity network schools, as well as our network, our neighborhood high schools. As of last, when I ran the numbers for this fiscal year for dual enrollment students, we've enrolled roughly 1,580 students, and we're still enrolling students for this last summer term. So we'll probably be over 1,700 high school students this semester. Our partnerships expand over 35 schools and paraprofessional organizations. Of course, the School District of Philadelphia being our largest partner, but with also some recent changes in state legislation, charter schools are actually now to take greater advantage of dual enrollment opportunities through the school district as the chief LEA. So we are looking to expand those opportunities even more. Last point I'll mention around Act 158, while some folks saw Act 158 as the unfunded mandate that put additional burden on districts, and in many instances it has, we saw it as an opportunity to think outside the box and to have an additional carrot as it relates to dual enrollment, which is one of the 5 pathway options that students can take to earn their high school diploma as a graduate of the state of Pennsylvania. So when I look across other community colleges in the Commonwealth, we currently enroll the largest amount of students in programs across any other community college in the Commonwealth. And I'm hoping that that number will increase. That additional $150,000 that we requested from the city in our budget this year is on top of the current $350,000 that we get. So we'll raise the city's investment to $500,000 annually for dual enrollment, which is where we were in 2010, 2011, when the state was funding us. So we're now back at where those state funding allocations were, but it's through the city now.
That's great information. That's a very detailed answer. We thank you for that. Very much appreciate it. And I just also wanted to commend Dr. Generals and the team for the West Philly space. We use it often to convene educators and to talk about issues that we face across the city of Philadelphia. So again, thank you to you and your team. It's a pleasure to work with you, and we appreciate all you're doing for the young people in the city of Philadelphia.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. You good, Councilman? You good? Thank you.
I'm good, CP. Thank you.
Okay. I do not believe we have any additional colleagues in the queue for questions or comments. With that, I'd like to thank you all both for a job well done, for your continued commitment to the educational opportunities of for the citizens of the city of Philadelphia. One parting statement, North Philadelphia Satellite Office. North Philly, got to put a plug in for the 5th Council District. And actually the 8th District too. We're like on that border, so you can get 2 council members pretty excited about locking down Dobbins. So gentlemen, thank you.
I touched those 2 prayers for the 8th and the 5th.
Yeah, I see the majority leader trying to slide the 4th in, so I got to make sure the 5th lead in that queue. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We really appreciate the work you've done, and thank you for your commitment. Look forward to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Again, thank you. All right, that concludes our testimony for today. Let's get our next date. We will see where we are with our timing. No other questions. There being none in the committee, we will stand in recess until Wednesday, May 3rd at 10 a.m., at which time we will reconvene in a remote manner using Microsoft's Teams. I want to thank you all very much. Talk to you all tomorrow. Thank you.